you know, as long as you're still alive, your story's not over.
Yeah.
Right? So even if you're down at the bottom, you can, if you have the motivation, like, you can bring yourself back up.
Yeah.
And that's what Johnny did.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
so he was all the way down. Like, he was saying, he went back to, you know, from being one of the biggest stars in the world to he would just be doing, like, little country fairs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Playing for, like, 50 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is Johnny fucking Cash.
Yep. And he was loving to do it.
He was just, like, he was just content with it. And he really thought that he basically had done, like, everything that he was going to do, like, artistically. Mm-hmm. Until he met this other guy with a magnificent beard.
Uh-huh.
Who came up in a genre completely different than what Johnny Cash did.
Totally.
And if you don't know who we're talking about
Double R.
We're talking about Ricky Rubin himself. And if you want to hear us talk about Rick Rubin, check out our Def Jam Records episode. Because we did that, and he's obviously a big deal in that. Mm-hmm. And he's just a big deal in music ever since he hit the scene, really.
Yeah. A sidebar, he just interviewed Robert Plant the other day. But let's get back to Johnny Cash.
I love his interviews.
Me too.
Rick Rubin is like a monk. He's just like a musical monk. Uh-huh. Like, he's just so on like a spiritual like level. Uh-huh. So like he approached Johnny. Mm-hmm. And remember, at this time, like, Johnny's feeling real down. He's like, I don't even really care if I make music anymore, like blah, 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 blah. And Rick Rubin came up to Johnny and was like, I want to sign you to my label.
Yep.
And Johnny's like, well, I don't know how much he knew of Rick Rubin before, but he was just kind of like, well, what are you going to do for me that all these producers I have worked for the past 40 years haven't done for me?
Right.
And Rick is just like, hey, man, what we're going to do, we're just come over to my house, bring a guitar, I'll set up 2 microphones, and you just play anything you want to play. I don't care. You just come over and you just sing it like you sing it. Mm-hmm. And Johnny's like, I like that.
Yep.
That sounds pretty good to me. So he comes over, and this is crazy. He was like, yeah, I had like a book of like 200 songs that I had written. So I just go over to Rick's house, and I just go through like all 200 of them. And I just imagine Rick like sitting like no shoes on, right? Just like cross-legged. Johnny's playing. He's just like, all right, Johnny. I really like that one. I like the vibrations and the waves of the guitar on this song. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be saying trippy shit like that. And Johnny's just like, all right, Rick. Whatever you say, Rick.
What are we going to do with it then?
You know? And that's another thing, like we were talking about earlier. Like, sometimes you just need like somebody to like push you.
Yeah.
And here it comes again. Like, Rick Rubin comes in. He's like, I know that you're not feeling really great about yourself, but people still love you.
Yes.
And I know that you still have this in you.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it.
Let's do it. We don't care if we have to prop your dead body on stage, Johnny, and hook you up to some type of symphonic new wave system, but you're going to sing.
He put 5 defibrillators on his rider for his concerts.
That's right. You could get out there. But yeah.
No green M&Ms or whatever it was. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so he basically reinvents himself completely. Mm-hmm. Because during that point in like the late 70s, 80s, when he was like super Christian, he wasn't selling as well, right? So his career and his like addiction, everything was really going down. And then here comes old Ricky Rubin, and he's like, "Come on, we're coming back up. I'm bringing you back up."
Yep.
And that's what happened.
That is exactly what happened. Johnny starts thriving again, and you cut to a couple of years further down. Remember that album that he made where he sang a whole bunch of other people's songs?
Yeah.
Okay. So that album's playing, and I hadn't heard Johnny Cash's voice in so long, like since I was like a little kid, because it's like nobody bangs Johnny Cash. Like, you know what I mean? You know him and you love him.
Yo, we should make some remixes of Johnny Cash songs.
I would love to.
That would be cool. Maybe that'll be bonus content for the Patreon.
I would love to. So So then, my friend was playing that same album, and it was I forgot what song by U2 it was, but he was singing that song, and he's like, "I bet you don't know who this is," and I'm like, "It's Johnny Cash." He's like, "How'd you know?" I'm like, "There's only one."
Yeah.
There's only one,
Yeah.
you know. So that was great, and I couldn't believe that he had done that album. I'm like, what made him want to do this? You know.
I know what made him want to do that.
Please tell.
Rick fucking Rubin.
That's right, sir.
Well, that's another thing. Like, I don't mean to just go on a rant about Rick Rubin, but like he's just a guy that understands music on such like a fundamental level.
Yeah.
That it's like, yeah, we're talking about. I mean, he did Depeche Mode, he did Nine Inch Nails, he did all these songs that like, if you're just like an outside observer, you would never think, oh yeah, Johnny Cash would kill this Nine Inch Nails song.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm sure Johnny wasn't thinking that either.
Nope.
But Rick is just so in tune with the music that he would be, you know, he listens to everything and he would like really hear what the song is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wouldn't necessarily be listening to like the arrangement, like the keyboard and all the shit, whatever. He would be listening to like, what is this song about? Like, what does this song mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he would really just get into it. And he'd be like, Johnny, I know what this song is about and I know that you would crush this song, basically.
Yeah. It's almost like he sees the song as a person. It's like he sees the song as a person and he wants it to make friends with another person. Like
Aww.
Rick. But yeah, because that's what I feel like. It's like he looks past, like he knows the music, but he looks at the artist. And that's what he was able to do for Johnny Cash. And thank goodness. Because, you know, it just put him even more into legendary status. Now, you know, Johnny outlived a lot of his contemporaries. You know, Jerry Lee is gone and Elvis is gone, and they were all gone pretty early when Johnny was tanking pretty much. That's when everybody was kind of like hitting bottom.
Right.
And, you know, the country was just getting too wild. Too much drugs, y'all. Too much. Out of control.
Yeah. Oh, and at one point, I forgot to mention this. He was like, when he was like first started getting into pills, he was living with like Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
And like they were just like doing just hella drugs together all the time. Like, you know, as musicians do. I don't know if y'all heard about this.
Yes.
Musicians sometimes do drugs.
Yeah, sometimes.
But talking about that first album that he did with Rick. So he literally goes over and just plays guitar in Rick's living room. And they recorded those all as demos, and they were planning on like bringing them to studios and like doing them with a band. But then eventually I don't know if it was Johnny or Rick that thought this, but they were just kind of like, this is the best version of this. Just Johnny with the guitar. Like it's the most bare, it's the most powerful.
Yeah.
And that's what they put out. So that first album was just all acoustic. And that now, like, you know, people are doing this, and now like younger people are coming to his shows are getting packed again because he's literally just reaching a whole new generation now.
Right.
You know?
Correct. Man, what a king. And what a humble one, too, which is pretty awesome. All right. So Johnny's growing, and he's growing. And he's like, you know what? I'm so great. I need somebody to make a movie about me. No, just kidding.
Well, okay. So he puts that album out, and then things are going well for him. And then June dies.
Yeah.
Which obviously is really upsetting for him.
Very much
and
so.
I mean, this is kind of fucked up, but I also thought it was kind of funny that all of the people around him were surprised when June died because they were all like, I can't believe Johnny didn't die first.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing, you know, amphetamines for 40 years, I get why someone would say that.
I get so, too. But I think June kind of hid her problems better, but
Yeah.
I heard that she had a heavier problem than he did. Like,
Interesting. A lot of that happens a lot.
Yeah.
With people like hiding their problems and then y'all know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
But so June dies, and then Johnny at this point, you know, he's getting up there in age, and he's wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
And even Rick was like, we were all saying like, we don't know how much longer Johnny's gonna last because his whole purpose in life was to be out playing music, and now he can't play music because his health is declining and he's in this wheelchair and shit.
Right.
So basically, Johnny, again, he's not giving up on life. He's just not. So basically, instead of just like resigning himself to be depressed and his wife's gone and he can't play music anymore, basically they doubled down on recording.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, him living his music through live shows, he's just like, we're going to record every day.
Yeah.
Like every fucking day. And Rick, being the fucking man,
Yeah.
he gets a band together for Johnny.
That's right.
Because here's the thing. This is also another reason why Rick is a fucking legend. They were talking about that first album. They're like, yeah, we did the acoustic album, and, you know, it did really, really well. So the logical thing would be to do another acoustic album. But we were like, that's exactly what we don't want to do. We can't just do that. That's what people would expect.
Right.
So he's like, we're going to get a band together. And the band that he gets together is just ridiculously stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an all-star band. It's crazy.
Yeah, because Rick's putting together a band, and then the word gets out. Who are you putting a band together for? Oh, just somebody. Who? There's just somebody.
JR.
Exactly. A legend. You know, then Rick gets tortured. They pin him down. They pull his ears. And he
Tom
lets it out.
Petty sticks a pencil in his eye. He's like, I'm getting in this band. Put me in this band.
Exactly.
Mick Fleetwood hits him in the face with a drumstick. He's like, I want in. I want in. Who else? Yeah, I mean, Tom Petty was in the band.
Yep.
Mick Fleetwood was in the band. Lindsey Buckingham was in the band.
Yep.
So it's a little Fleetwood Mac reunion
Exactly.
with Tom Petty and Johnny Cash. Like, it's just ridiculous.
It really is.
Like, when you think, and nobody else could have pulled that together but Rick Rubin.
I don't think so at all. When Rick starts to work, signals, blue jays actually start to fly out of his hair. And then they
out of his beard. There's a nest in his beard. Is
Exactly.
What I heard.
They fly out. And they're not supposed to do this, but they whisper to the other musicians, like, Rick is working. Rick is working.
Like,
so that's how all those famous people found out about this project.
Yeah.
Bling.
So that happens, and then you get into, you know, what we're saying, the other album where he's doing all these modern songs and he's redoing it. And it's just crazy because, like, at this point, he's so old.
Yeah.
You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
And you can hear all the things that he's been through. And you
Yeah.
can hear the rough life that he's led. And you can just feel it. And it's like, it's so intense. Like, it's not something that you can really put into words.
Right.
But when he's singing these songs at his old age, like, you just can feel all that experience. And it hits you on a deeper level, I think, than even his earlier songs.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying because, you know, there's so much experience in his voice at that point. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you're getting songs, it's like he's singing songs where it's like, it almost feels like he knows that he's towards the end.
Yeah.
And you can tell that in the voice.
I find that scary, but carry on, John. No.
I mean, it is scary, but that's also what makes it so legendary.
I don't need you spreading your death on me, John, through the airwaves. How about that? No.
I was never going to die until I heard Johnny dying. Now, I was going to be immortal, but now, because of Johnny, I have death in my head. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like you're listening to time when you listen to him sing like those songs. Like I don't want to say old man time, but in a way, yeah, you're listening to time. It's really interesting. Don't go, Johnny. Shit, he's gone.